be looking at nuclear energy. We want to look at public perception, taking a leap into this industry to see what are the challenges, what are the progress so far, and what are we looking ahead for. Yes, and to do so, we have Mr. Peter Bassey, the founder CEO of P.I.B Global Services Limited, to look at these areas. I've mentioned earlier that there are potentials, which includes carbon emission and powering our homes. We've mentioned that earlier, and of course, there have been some challenges, such as some disasters, that have been experienced in one area or the other. But today, Mr. Peter Bassey will dive into this and see even how the international scene, international organizations are handling all of this to ensure it comes in favor of everyone. So, Mr. Peter, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, so let's quickly dive into this question. Talking about nuclear energy, how do you think government worldwide are really striking, a balance between promoting nuclear energy and ensuring, public safety through regulations?
Yeah, as we know, nuclear energy is one of the best form of electricity generation because it produces electricity without emitting anything carbon to the environment, and it's also very reliable. And it causes low pollution. It produces low pollution and has high energy density. And you can also be able to have sufficient fuel availability. And it can give a lot of power to the country. We are having a lot of issues with power generations and stuff. But the issue of this nuclear energy, new atomic energy stuff is the problem of weaponizing it. So we are the international organizations trying to see how the safe, they call it the peaceful way of using the nuclear energy to be able to ensure that the countries who want to go into it follows international standards, international regulations, and they are using it just for peaceful utilization, which one of them is using it for energy generation. Nuclear energy can also be used in the hospitals and so many other non-war applications. So we are hoping that in Nigeria, which is also working towards this, although as at now we don't really have a clear regulatory framework, which everything is also under development, and presently there are multiple regulatory agencies with overlapping responsibilities, such as the Nigerian Nuclear Regulatory Authority that was formed in 1995 under the Nuclear Safety and Radiation Protection Act. And we also have other agencies that have been developed. So we hope that these government agencies can come together. We put them into one fold, and they should be able to follow up the international agencies in charge of nuclear power or nuclear energy to be able to ensure that we have a peaceful applications of the nuclear power.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. Let's talk about, shaping policy and regulation. What role would you say the international organizations are playing, in this area, especially the IA, EA? What role would you say they are playing?
Now, the IAEA, their own is to ensure that nationals who are in charge of this energy commission follow the rules. Like in Nigeria, Nigeria has adopted the IAEA milestone approach in its nuclear power plant development and achieved the first milestone in the journey of this nuclear power development. That was in 2009, and it was approved by the National Nuclear Power Roadmap of the National Executive Council. So they always have all these international events, activities that they go and integrate in the integrated nuclear infrastructure review. That they always go to all these international organizations or international events and workshops that give countries that want to go into this application of nuclear power plants. There's a framework, and they are also trying to review the policies of these countries. So everything has to be in line with the IAEA, and we are hoping that Nigeria will also be able to comply with the International Atomic Energy Agency because of there was and they always have annual, like I said, there was annual general conference. They call it a GC. They call it a GC, the General Conference, and it's a flagship conference of the International Atomic Energy. And the conference provides the avenue where representatives of the IAEA member states, which Nigeria is a member, to meet and consider and approve the IAEA's budgets and to decide on issues raised by the Board of Governors, as well as to discuss policy issues of the agency.
All right. Talking about policy review, technology is the order of the day. Things are really moving fast. So, I mean, how would you say technology has impacted, policy and regulation formulation or development when it comes to nuclear energy?
The introduction of the AI, because AI will be one of the markets for nuclear energy when a nuclear energy, nuclear power has been really put in place. With the introduction of AI, everything now AI. So AI also requires a lot of energy, and AI will be one of the obstacles of this nuclear energy. So these policies, some countries are still trying to develop the policies. And with the problem, the unique problem we have in Nigeria, we are always having we don't have a stable government, transition government. So each government will come and develop their own policy. So we just hope that we are able to follow up, and when one government has introduced a policy, another government should come and continue or even improve and implement the policy. Not that you will not have to go back to redesign the policy or try to work on the policy again. So this the policies and the framework that have been developed can help Nigeria to be part of the countries. It's only South Africa so far that has their own power plants. So Nigeria is supposed to be the second country in Africa to have power plants. And in Nigeria, we were looking at two locations of the power plants in Kogi State and another one in P.I.B State.
Okay. All right, thank you. So, Mr. Bassey, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so you just mentioned that Nigeria is supposed to also have a power plant. I want to ask, what does it take for Nigeria to own a power plant? Either one or two, like you mentioned earlier. What does it take?
Yeah, well, the power plant, construction is very expensive. It's really, really expensive. But it's something that Nigeria can achieve, and Nigeria cannot do it alone. I think the one that Nigeria has been trying to work on is in partnership with the company from Russia, and like power plant is expensive to build because you have to use uranium and stuff like that. And so the first step was for them to identify the proposed sites. So these proposed sites are in there's one in Kogi State. I think the name of that location is Jerugu. I don't know if I can pronounce it well, but the other one I can pronounce it very well because I'm from there. The other one is in E2 local government area of P.I.B State. So these two locations where Nigeria is trying to construct these power plants, and we are looking at having about 4,000 megawatts of energy generated from these two sites.
So you've talked about affordability and all of that, the costs. So let's bring it down to what we could have small businesses afford. Let's look at it. How affordable do you think this is? So, I mean, I'm talking about solar, solar panel and all of that, where you have homes make use of it to do stuffs and maybe some other big businesses. Let's bring it down to little small businesses as well. How affordable do you think this can be, and how well do you think little businesses will be able to get involved, step on this and make it for their business so they could as well thrive?
The fact is not that the small and medium enterprises are setting up their own power plants. No. The thing is that the government will set up the power plants, then energy is generated. This energy is now transmitted transmitted into the transmission channels and distributed to people. And since this energy has been produced in a high capacity, that means we'll be able to distribute it and we would have stable power supply. When we have stable power supply, that is where, of course, the small and medium enterprises will now benefit, because the cost of running the operations using diesel or petrol generators and even trying to use other alternative energy source will be cut off, because the nuclear energy will be enough for everybody to consume, and there will be no issue of downtime and stuff like that. So once there's stable power supply, medium enterprises and medium enterprises will be able to operate, and the cost of operations will reduce. That's going to be their benefit. So people will not even be able to will not give that excuse. Okay, I can't run my business. Maybe I have a restaurant. I sell chilled drinks. I'm not selling because people are not buying because they are not sure. There will be power supply, and people who are doing production, you'll be able to use your machines to create a product, take them to the market. And I mean, it's going to be a very big opportunity, and it's going to really help small and medium enterprises, even the big industries. Do you know the amount of all this, the amount these big industries spend on diesel every day? So if it's going to benefit not just the small, medium enterprises, but of course the big industries as well.
Thank you, Mr. Bassey. So I'm actually not referring to, having small businesses set up a power plant. Obviously, that's not what I'm saying. But, we have the solar energy from nuclear fusion. You understand? So at least I could see different homes and some businesses having small solar panels. So I was just wanting you to speak to how affordable these little ones are, that other more smaller businesses would be able to afford. That was what I was actually referring to, and not them having a power plant. I mean, of course, we know that that is not doable. Okay, so let's come to challenges. When it comes to waste management, in this industry, how do you manage? How do you think it can be managed? What are the challenges around waste management, and how can they be managed?
Yeah, I think that is one of the problems that we are having, we are not yet there where we're supposed to be in terms of the nuclear power plants, because there should be ways of recycling the nuclear waste. There's nothing that doesn't bring out waste. So even in the nuclear power plants, there will be waste, but there should be policies, frameworks, schemes to be able to recycle this waste, which is also very, very possible. And other challenges will be that, like I said, the cost to develop this is very high. And if there's a mistake, if the problem with nuclear power is that while the probability of damage is low, if the damage occurs, its impact can be massive. So there's a small chances of damages occurring, but that small chances, even if the damage occurs, the impact, these are radioactive elements, and it can cause a lot of issues. So the malfunction of the power plant can be so catastrophic, because it's going to affect the radiation, kill the cells, and these things are very dangerous. So before these power plants are erected and commissioned, there should be frameworks, there should be management strategies on how to prevent any probability of issues occurring from maybe damages or malfunctioning of any of the components. So these are some of the things that has to be put in place before we even consider putting up the solar plants. The nuclear plants.
All right, thank you. So policies, you agree with me that it varies. You have, developed countries, you can agree with me that coming to this nuclear energy, they've actually moved miles and miles away, while you have some countries still lagging behind. Some are dragging and some are really pushing hard, to get there. Yes, policies and regulations, would you say they are the same, or do they vary, country to country? And if they do, what would you say can be a takeaway for us that we could put together, bring back home to Nigeria and say, oh, this is what we can effectively add and help us, to work out well?
Yeah, so every country has their own unique challenges and of course beliefs and stuff. It's not every country that must set up nuclear power plants. There are some countries that is even against their mandate and stuff like that. Some countries don't even want to be part of it, and are even trying to discourage other countries. Like I said, because this, if it gets into wrong hands or this something goes wrong, it can be very catastrophic. But then this is something that, if everything is put in place and is well managed, the nuclear power plant is something that is a necessity, because it's going to be it's going to be a solution to our power problems. But for example, now what we have, the nuclear power plant development directorate is currently headed by Professor Mati. He's a key technical directorate of the Nigerian Atomic Energy Commission. Their work is to implement the nuclear power program (NP) in Nigeria. So for these people at the NNPP, they are playing a lead role in catalyzing the execution of many key activities of the commission. So for this directorate now, they are well developed in such a way that they have a workflow system. They have a communication structure with the job metrics. So this directorate, they want to be able to guide the country on how the country can, develop the nuclear roadmap and the fundamental strategies for the execution of the nuclear power plants.
Okay, all right, thank you. So I think I'm just going to take maybe one or two more questions before we let you go. So let's look at public perception and probably misinformation. How would you say, this has affected policies, And again, earlier you talked about having this nuclear energy coming out well, more even affordable or even better of the regular, power system. Have you done a lot of research? Do you agree that people prefer this than the regular power system?
It's not about what people prefer. It's also good to get to check what people prefer, but you need to also check the perception of the perception of people. Like we all know, when you talk about atomic nuclear, people think about it's all about weaponizing war, atomic war and all that. So it's just like talk about internet or AI. Like the introduction of AI, people are already saying that AI is coming to erase humanity and stuff like that. Of course, why that there might be some elements of truth or whatever, but there's nothing that doesn't have the negative impact of it. There's nothing that doesn't have, if it's overused or abused. Anything, even water, even air. If you abuse water, it comes to something negative. Even the air you breathe, if you abuse it, comes to something negative. So of course, there's the nuclear power also have its own fears, and people talk about it. The fear of whatever, people thinking that it's going to go into wrong hands, and that is why policies, international regulations, these frameworks have to be put in place, and there should be people taking responsibilities to ensure that things go well. Like I said, we cannot afford for a single mistake to go on, because if a single mistake happens, it's going to be so catastrophic. So the issue is, we should look at the bright side of it. I mean, nuclear power plants is very safe for the environment, very, very safe for the environment. And as Nigeria is working on the energy transmission plan, but although during the ETP, that is the Nigerian Energy Transmission Plan, Nigeria, I don't know if it was deliberate, but actually Nigeria did not mention anything about nuclear, using nuclear power plants to work on their net zero or energy transmission plant. Nuclear power plant was not mentioned, and maybe it's because the emission of the nuclear generation of electricity from the energy transmission maybe it's because of the challenges associated with deploying nuclear power plants, and which could be lack of a clear regulatory framework. But if there is a clear regulatory framework and everything, the strategies, the implementation from A to Z has been, clearly stated, we should not have any fear about the nuclear power plants. I mean, some countries are doing it, so why can't Nigeria do it? So we should look at the bright side of it.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Peter Bassey. I must thank you for coming. I think that's the one much we can take on Market Insights this morning. I want to thank you very much for sharing your knowledge and your time with us. Mr. Peter Bassey is the founder CEO of P.I.B Global Services Limited. Thank you once again. We'll be reaching out to you some other time, and we'll hope that you oblige us. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. You're most welcome.
All right. And now we move to the last part of Market Insight this morning, which is exchange rate. Let's share with you briefly what we have on the exchange rate today. So dollar, or the official selling rate for dollar, is 1,448.46, while parallel market is selling at 1,490. Pounds is selling at 1,842.44 at official rate, while parallel rate is 1,900. Euro is selling at the official rate 1,567.67, while parallel rate is 1,580. And that's the updates this morning on exchange rates. And thank you so much for your time on Market Insight. Once again, my name is Grace Komolafe. Don't forget how we do it. We bring you stock market updates. We bring you equity market updates. And of course, we bring a key topic that we delve into to share knowledge about. Yes, tomorrow you will be seeing Lovina Emma, not to worry. She will be here to take you on another ride on Market Insight. Until tomorrow, I remain Grace Komolafe. Do have a great time out there. Bye.